Hey guys, today we are going to make some tulips using texture paste. So I have this left over from Christmas. You can use this. I also have this. This is the one I'm actually going to be using just because it's a little fluffier. It kind of looks like marshmallow fluff. But what you can do is put a big dab of it. I'll show you my palette here. Put a big dab of it on your palette. I'm actually going to need more than that. Okay. Now the cool thing with this is that you can add paint to it. So we're going to add a little bit of lemon. It'll come out. And this one is light orange. You can use a sunbeam. You can use any shade that's a little bit darker than your lemon. This is a really old paint I'm trying to use up. Now what you're gonna do is you're going to mix this, but you don't want to mix it all the way. You want some streaks and some lines and kind of a marble effect. Kind of like that. Now, what we're gonna do is I have a palette knife. Let's see, I'll show you the shape of this palette knife. It's old, dingy, dirty, but this is the palette knife that I'm going to use, this shape. What you're gonna do, and I'm gonna show it to you on the palette before we put it on the rock. You're going to grab some of your texture paste, like this, just a glob of it, okay? And we're going to plop it down and drag. Okay. You can use as little or as much as you want, depending on how much texture you want. Then we're going to do it again. Put it down, drag it down. Okay. And then one more time. Texture paste. Lay it down and drag it. Now you don't want to press it too hard or else you're going to end up smushing all of your texture down. Okay, so this is what our tulip is basically going to look like. So let's try this on the rock now. Here's my rock. I have base coated this with a gesso and then added just a white acrylic paint over top, just Bocart wicker white. And then I let it dry. So we're gonna get our paint on our palette knife. That was a little too much, I think, because my rock is a little small. Okay. Paint on the palette knife. Lay it down. And lift up. More paint. I'm a little slow, sorry. Just paint on the palette knife. Lay it down and drag it. And you can kind of shape it if you want to, if it's not quite the shape you want. Now, see how much texture this has? It's quite a lot, so this is going to take a really long time to dry, so keep that in mind. Get your little roll of paint. Lay it down and drag it. And this has a little point, and I don't really want that point there. Now, if it's not quite how you want, you can always, mess with it a little bit, fuss with it. And you can always scrape a little bit off if it's not exactly how you want. This little mess here, that's perfectly fine. We can scrape it and then we can repaint it in white. It's no big deal. It's a light color. So we can clean it up. It's not going to be that big of an issue. Okay. Or the other thing we can do is we can cover it up with another flower. So I'm going to mix up a little bit more orange in this paint just so that this flower looks a little bit different than the next flower. Okay, you're finish the paint that I've mixed up, add a little bit more orange. Where do I want it? Maybe here. And drag. Lay it down and drag. And then one more time. Down and drag. So now you have 2 flowers. Okay, now let's make some leaves. Now the only thing I did was I added a little touch of blue to my paint palette here, and it made it this kind of mossy looking green color. It's kind of hard to see because my lighting sucks. And we're just gonna make some leaves. Now you can use the same palette knife if you'd like, or I'm using this other palette knife I have. It's got a round tip to it, just to make it a little bit different of a shape. So I'm not gonna put as much on because I don't want them to look exactly like the petals. So I'm just going to get a little bit on the tip, just like this. Okay, and a little bit on the side, a little bit on the tip, just like this. Now we're going to do the same thing. Lay it down and drag it across. Lay it down and drag it down, just like that. Lay it down, drag it across, just like that. Now we've got some leaves. And then just to make some stems, I'm going to put it on the edge here. And then of course, once this all dries, you can clean it up however you want. If you want to add some outlining, or if you want to add, oops, I got my finger in it. Or if you want to add some little lines inside of your leaves to define them a little bit more, you can do that as well. Just like that. And then once this dries, I'll show you what it looks like.